Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling Review Series. This is the um, February 20th, 1982 edition of the program. And I've watched up to, I believe, about 19 or May or June is where I'm at. That should be added within the next few days. Plus, all of the current day wrestling stuff that is prevalent. If you're into that, now we should cross it over into um, 2,000 audios within the next little while here. In any event, if you're into such things, uh, we've got over 2,000 of these available for your listening pleasure, and of course, always something of a good run there to be had for folks that are interested. And again, this particular run is going to be the Mid Atlantic run. That is going to be about 200 or so episodes. Sergeant Slaughter interviewed by Roddy Piper. Piper puts Slaughter over strong as a major guy because he's the U.S. champion. Piper says that he could beat Slaughter, but very few could, and that Slaughter has been an unstoppable champion. He understands the pressure of being the champion because he's been the champion himself. Don Gilbert and Buck Brannigan versus Roberts and Blackjack Mulligan Jr., aka Barry Windham. Windham and Roberts have teamed a couple times before and continue to be a decent enough team. Anyway, tackles and shoulder tackles and then headlock takeovers by Windham. Windham in control for the majority of the first part of the match. Pretty basic stuff. Roberts comes in and gets things going his way. Much leaner than he is in his WWF run in 86 through 92. Again, top wrist lock by Windham Jr. or Mulligan Jr. and Jake Roberts takes a couple of shots in the midsection from shoulder tackles and the like. Really basic stuff, nothing worth necessarily writing home about, but Roberts manages to crank up on his adversary and hard run there. Tag off by Roberts. Roberts manages to get some hard basic stuff there, and ultimately Roberts then manages to go Irish whip and a big back body drop out of the corner. Simple stuff there, and then we see the win for the babyface tandem with the running forearm by, in this case, Blackjack Mulligan Jr. Then we see Sergeant Slaughter in ring here. Sergeant Slaughter, multi-month U.S. champion, probably around the 6-month mark, something like that now. Slaughter versus Vinny Valentino, not exactly a hard challenge for Slaughter. Slaughter, lots of forearms, basic maneuvers, running into the, or hooking up on the arm bar, trying to keep things going as directedly as possible. Slaughter also not exactly a guy who necessarily wants to be taking backward steps, but Irish whips, and Slaughter manages with a clothesline taking his opponent's head off pretty well here. Slaughter basically is shown footage of Dusty Rhodes, who apparently is coming into the Mid-Atlantic area to challenge him for the U.S. title. That is shown from Florida. Looks like a high school gym or something of that nature. Slaughter putting down Rhodes just about everywhere he can. Rhodes hits a bunch of jabs and shucks and jives, and Slaughter is unimpressed. Basically says that Dusty Rhodes is nothing to him, and Rhodes manages to hit the bionic elbow and gets the victory. Then we move to Ben Alexander, Porkchop Cash. Porkchop Cash has not, I don't think, found a partner yet for the tag team tournament. But Porkchop Cash continues to be and I hate to say this, but token African American at the time, in the sense that not really treated like a major star, at least at this time in this area. And of course, in Mid Atlantic, you don't see that many African American stars during the early 80s, late 70s. There's maybe one or two on each card, if that, and goes through peaks and valleys. Just a different time. and Pork Chop Catch hits the headbutt and other basic maneuvers. Piper says that no one can stop him, and he is your Mid-Atlantic champion again. He's happy and less than thrilled with how he's been treated in upcoming matches, as it were. Then we go to another singles match. This time, Keith Larson and Ivan Koloff. Koloff has been your Mid-Atlantic Television champion before. Koloff continues to be a dominant individual. Beals Larson out of the corner, pretty hard shots and basic maneuvers along the way there. Also, Koloff manages to hit Larson a little low, and then manages to get things going in his general direction, as it were. Um, some hard kicks and other such along the way. Um, there is a run with Koloff managing to get some body slams, hammerlocks, and then of course the top rope knee drop for him. Ray Stevens continuing to hype the various challenges. Steamboat wants Flair and the challenges there. Jake Roberts still having issues with Ole Anderson, but also wanting to be part of the tag team tournament that's still upcoming and not really fully fleshed out. We go to the next in the series of matches, which happens to be Mike George and Steve Siebert. Siebert relatively new, and ultimately Mike George does most of his work in the Mid-South area, not exactly a guy that you gotta write home about. A very basic wrestler. George gets a few fireman's carry takeovers, basic maneuvers, nothing aggressive, arm locks, hammer locks, basic stuff there, and big body slams attempted uh, by Mike George there. He eventually does get the victory. We go to the return of Johnny Weaver being talked about for Charlotte, and Mike George cuts a promo, says he's trying to find a partner, but also trying to find his way here in the area. Enhancement talent match for Anderson and Hansen. Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson. Anderson takes the enhancement talent guy, which I believe is Tony Anthony, down several times, and then it cuts the other enhancement talent guy off. Anderson, phenomenal, gets a bear hug, drives the man back into the corner, just makes everything out of every move. Anderson in the majority of the match here. Hansen, when he comes in, hits with big punches, kicks, and super simple stuff, but also manages to get a couple of, attempted basic victory type things there. And Russian Bear Ivan Koloff says he still wants to be one of the best. Koloff and Austin Idol are still tag team partners going forward into the tournament. Ole Anderson says how long can it be before he and Hansen are individuals who are going to win the tag team tournament. No one's going to stop them, and we will close there with that. We'll be back with more right after this.